iPadOS 26 genuinely feels like they just decided to make it more of a Mac. They
This
just
time
did
will
it.
be different.
They just did the thing. It was kind of shocking. It was
Marques just teared up a little bit.
crazy. We've got one more big OS update to talk about from Apple this week, and that is the iPad. Now, the history of iPad updates has been very consistent. We've got maybe 5 or 6 years of iPads under our belt where I review the iPad and I say the same thing that I said the last year when I reviewed the iPad, which is, man, this hardware is so good, so impressive, so thin, so fast, beautiful screen, but it's still an iPad. I always say that line, but it's still an iPad. And that's because it's still the same iOS on steroids kind of software, where if you were hoping to make it your computer, it is clearly not up to that. It's not designed for that. And heck, it's Apple. Why would we expect them to do that? They make computers. If they wanted to sell you a computer, it's over there. It's called the Mac. So they're always so separate for so long. And I've watched so many YouTube videos over the years of YouTubers going, can I make it my main computer? And I've made 1 or 2 of these videos too with the iPad Pro. You know, there's a little bit better file management. I could upload a YouTube video from the tablet, and also it had a desktop agent, so I could even like mess around in the Dropbox app. Like there was hacks that I could kind of get working, but it was never quite comfortable. Stage Manager came along. It was okay. Blech. This year, iPadOS 26 genuinely feels like they just decided to make it more of a Mac. They
This
just
time
did
will
it.
be different.
They just did the thing. It was kind of shocking. It was
Marques just teared up a little bit.
crazy. Like they did they added full freeform windows. Like you can just drag from the corner and make a bunch of windows as whatever size you want. Multiple overlapping windows, on screen, off screen, full screen. They also added a menu bar at the top.
And window controls on those windows.
And we had the stoplight menu for like closing or minimizing or change the size of windows. There's a new redesigned Files app. There is a new audio input selector, which I also confirmed will work with Bluetooth microphones.
Ooh.
I've been paying for apps to do this for like years. Really? Every time I test Bluetooth headphones, I'm like, how do I do this test? This is going to be the worst part.
Yeah.
There are so many things in iPadOS.
Preview app.
The new preview app, you can export to different file sizes and types, like all of this stuff. The new Files app can let you sort by or organize by showing different types of attributes for your files. The liquid glass is still there, obviously, but I am just way more confident that I can use the iPad like a computer. Have you seen plugging it in with a trackpad?
Yeah, there's a real pointer now.
It's just a real mouse now.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like that blob that was like snapping. You called it aim assist. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
It's just a mouse now.
Finally, this is what I wanted.
This is right up your alley.
How'd
you don't
they
even
pull it
need
off?
DeX. You literally just plug it into a monitor and maybe throw on like the keyboard attachment with the trackpad. It's a computer.
Oh, I plan to try.
Yeah.
My summer will be dedicated between this and the Android 16 developer beta that just came out. I'm going to be trying to replace this laptop with one of these.
Yeah, man.
I like desktop so much.
I think you can really do it. I think so. There's obviously, if you have certain apps that you need, you have got to make sure those apps work. Like the Final Cut on the iPad is going to be different from Final Cut on the Mac. So you have to be okay with like the lack of plugins. There's certain things that work differently, but there are background apps or background actions now. So if I hit export and then I leave Final Cut and head to the web browser and open up Frame.io to get ready to upload or whatever, it will continue to export in the background.
I cannot believe that wasn't a thing before.
I know.
I cannot believe that wasn't a thing before. That's
all of these things all in one update just feels like if they did one of these things, it'd be like, oh, it's a little closer. But they did all of these things.
So now, would you rather buy a MacBook Air or an iPad?
Okay, so what user am I? Am I me?
Yeah.
Or am I regular? Am I my sister? Am I am I a recent college grad? Am I what? Which type of person are we talking about?
Do you want to do? Well,
I think if it was me,
be me.
Yeah. Okay. I use Final Cut Pro for Mac heavily.
You do.
So I'm a big video guy. I don't know if you know.
What?
So
okay.
I cannot main this as my main like editing computer.
Right.
For everything else, yes, I can. So I'm the person that's going to have to keep a Mac around, and I think a lot of power users who have specific apps that they use on the Mac are going to have to keep a Mac around. But as far as like taking it everywhere with me, I don't have to do that anymore. I can take the iPad everywhere with me, and if I need the Mac, I'll go to where the Mac is.
Right.
That's the difference.
And the thing that they did with the iPad Final Cut app was that they were trying to make it so that you could just do a base like cut edit so that you could then throw it to your Mac anyway.
Yeah, I will say a lot of the demos that Apple does and that any of these companies do with video editing is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just hilarious to me because it's so contrived. They'll be like, and now I want to add a background song. So I'll just drag this here and boop, looks good. All done. I'm like, wait, what? That's it?
That's how easy it is.
That's how they edit. They just go drag something in and it's perfect because they had it staged for that. But yeah, I think it's for simple edits.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I will say DaVinci Resolve has a full iPad app that
Who was sitting next to me and said that?
I did. And
That was you.
And I was
okay.
sitting next to you.
Yes. That's what I'm remembering. Thank you.
Wow.
Hey, I remembered. I was paying attention.
Or you paying attention to me sitting next to you for 2 hours?
Well, because I was also in a briefing with Tyra Stallman and we talked about something else and there was some other photo stuff. But yes, that. So yeah, the full-on iPad app, that is an option.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to relearn.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But for people that are already on Resolve, that's pretty amazing. Like you can pretty much just use the full iPad.
I'm not on Resolve, and I spent yesterday like at least 2 hours just watching a bunch of iPad Resolve tutorials, and I want to try it.
Yeah.
It looks doable.
Yeah.
Vin raves about the color controls in Resolve.
It's way better. Yeah. It used to just be a coloring app.
Right.
And then they built out editing
Also,
capabilities.
it doesn't crash all the time.
Is that right?
Allegedly.
That's actually a huge upside.
Allegedly.
If that's true. Okay.
Huge if true.
Does it support Red RAW?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also has like, it had AI like cutout features before Final Cut did.
Oh yeah, because the magnetic mask is kind of fire in Final Cut.
It's pretty good on Resolve. Too,
I've seen
really.
people use it who I know are not the best editors in the world, and it looks pretty good.
Hey, I'm right here.
And
You're still learning.
it looks a lot like Final Cut.
Okay, so maybe not the biggest learning curve.
No, there's a learning curve. to
There's definitely
Resolve,
a learning
or
curve,
Resolve.
but it doesn't look that different than Final Cut.
Okay, because it's got the nodes and you have to sort of learn the
Nodes.
process of editing in it. All right.
Nodes.
I may give this a spin. I got a 7-hour flight
Whoa.
coming up, so
Okay.
7.
we'll see.
Did you see
Damn,
there?
where are you going? Narnia?
Yeah.
Wait,
That's a door
that
closet.
would be a pretty quick flight.
San Francisco. 6.
The other thing we didn't mention, the local capture was pretty cool. Riverside.
Yeah.
But it says it can do it with any video conferencing app.
Yes. So this is going to be built into the OS.
Yeah.
Where if you are, and it's interesting, I don't know if the Mac is going to do this too, but basically, if you are on a video conferencing app, let's say you're going to do a podcast with someone over Zoom, it will be able to record your camera and microphone feed locally. The other person does that at the same time, and then you put all the files together, and you can then edit those files together, which is similar to what Riverside does.
It's the killer feature of Riverside, actually.
It really is. And then this plus now the microphone input change.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty solid. Yeah,
really
that's
good.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
As someone that has to like talk to people through this setup process in Riverside, I am not going to trust this with.
I'm
people.
curious. I think it
it's
might be
awesome. I think
exactly
it's-
what we need.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't think that people will understand how it works, where to find it in files, how to send it to me after. There's like so many things that Riverside takes care of
That's
automatically that I'm just going to keep trusting Riverside for now.
Is this even going to work on the Mac? Or is
we
this
don't
only
know.
iPad?
That's the biggest
This
thing.
is definitely an iPadOS feature. This is where I saw it demoed, and this is the part in the keynote that they showed it. So I assume it's iPad only.
Interesting.
But yeah, this struck me as like on a super, super, super simple podcast setup, this would work. The more variables you have, the more you might probably want to use Riverside. But
I think if it's great for like you're starting out. You're like, oh, me and my friend want to start a podcast. We have iPads. Perfect. That is like the ideal situation. For like us in a professional setting, I personally would not rely 100% on it.
Yeah.
that's fair.
If they can just bring Dota 2 to iPadOS, then I don't need my laptop anymore.
Is that your killer Mac app that you're stuck to Mac with?
Yeah.
So mine's Final Cut Pro, yours is Dota
Well, I
2.
also need a video editor. And I use Lightroom Classic instead of Lightroom Mobile.
Oh. But, you know, you got Pixelmator.
You could, I mean, there's also Lightroom Mobile. You could just
Yeah.
use that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited. I
Yeah.
expect that video again, is what I'll say. Expect the can the iPad be my computer video, but this time in a much more like optimistic tune.
Everything's computer.
Seems like it's possible.
Yeah.
We had that what is a computer moment. It was literally as they went down the list of things, we started when the first feature of like moving windows around happened. We were like, what is a computer? And they showed the toolbar and we were like, what is a computer?
Yeah.
And then they started going through like file management and like
The mouse.
all of the mouse stuff. And we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Windows.
This is serious.
Different windows.
Yeah.
Snapping.
They went down the whole list. So
Yeah. You can flick the windows around now and they'll like automatically snap to the sides.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
What an age.
We truly live in an age of wonders.
I think Craig had a moment in the end of the keynote where he was like, wow, how about that?
Yeah, he
Like-
did. Yeah, he said something quite funny that was kind of referencing that
Like, we've been asking for this.
that they're intentionally like keeping the iPad from being a computer, and they were like, yeah, a little bit more now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't want to say this in Slack yesterday during the event because I thought everyone would laugh at me. But now that we're with the people that I'm,
Let's
like,
record the
safe
laughter.
space.
I was gonna say now that I'm with the people, you're right. Now everyone on Twitter can laugh at me too. There was one feature they mentioned super briefly in iPadOS that people were joking about in the Slack, but it's serious, guys. It's really serious because I bought my Apple Pencil specifically
oh yeah,
at the Apple event. Like we were in Cupertino, we were shooting whatever, and it was the Apple event where they announced the Journal app. And
Yeah.
as soon as they announced that, I went and I bought an Apple Pencil online. That moment, I was like, yes.
oh
And then I bought it before they finished introducing the Journal app. And then at the end, they were like, iPhone only. And I was like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
Are you kidding
use
me?
that? Does anyone use the Journal app?
But now it's on.
Yeah,
iPad.
what kind of idiot uses the... That'd be crazy to use the Journal app. And so now the fact that my dreams of using the Apple Pencil to write my journal in bed like a little kid with on my stomach with my shins up in the air, boy, everyone is like, oh, Apple Pencil for journal app. I was like, this is all I've ever wanted.
They nailed it.
Thanks, Craig.
Target demographic was impressed.
yeah.
Yeah. By the way, all these window management features all come to the iPad Mini. I need to see 5 windows open on the iPad.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
It does
Adam
not
has
look
it.
nice.
Do you have it already?
I have it on the iPad Mini.
Oh, I
and
need that
That's the
screenshot.
first thing I did too, and it's a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, Notes did add Markdown as we predicted last time. And the calculator, the math notes in the math notes calculator added 3D graphing capabilities, which we should try because
Can I
math
just
notes
say-
is cool last year.
The Markdown coming to Apple Notes is actually a pretty big deal because
Yeah.
that is the one reason why I have not been using Apple Notes like as my main note-taking app because
Yeah.
everything is kind of like stuck there in Apple Notes formatting, and that's kind of it, and I jump around too much. I want to see if you can export these notes because if you can export them in Markdown, import them into another note-taking app that supports Markdown. Did anyone mention that? But if you could do that, that's huge
I want to double check, but I think you can.
because then that makes it a truly like interoperable note-taking app, which means that I can use it.
Yeah. Fire. So there you have it.
Cool beans.
Computers.
Thanks so much for watching this clip. If you want to hear Ellis maybe beatbox during this episode live on the podcast. Oh wait, it's happening right now.
I'll just give you a little taste.
we
you know
got to
what I
make
mean?
them do something.
No. They just gotta go click on. They just gotta go click on that full podcast. Maybe drop a little on the subscribe button. All right, ready? This is what you get a taste of.
Nice.
Is that dub?
Yeah,
That's dubstep. That's reggae, actually.
guys, I think it's ska.
No, it's not.
It's a new genre called
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Yeah. Please do it.